Welcome to another episode of In Those We Trust podcast. Sports talk. This is going to be a doozy. This is going to be one of those ones. Of course, I got my co-host in the building, Liam.
What's up, Lee?
I'm gonna let Liam run the show. I want to see what he got. I want to see what his beliefs are. I think we've been in my personal opinion, we've been very analytical about a lot of these things, right? In sports, there's always stats, the conversation like that. I feel like it's about time we just do like my favorite podcast. What they do on Flagrant 2 is feelings, no facts. So we just gonna, of course, have some facts behind it, but it's gonna be feelings behind this one. This has to deal with both of our teams, the Cowboys and the Eagles.
Yeah, Malik. Well, very, very gracious of you to give me the reins after my Eagles' first loss. That's really nice of you. I appreciate it.
Let's go.
But let's get into it. I know we got a lot to dive into, but Leek, let's hit a little bit of a recap. Really a fun Sunday. We had Thursday night kick it off. The Panthers beat the Falcons 25-15. Boring game. Another Thursday night game we really didn't give a shit about.
Yep.
German game. That was fun. Tampa Bay 21, Seattle 16. Tampa Tom's 2-0 since the divorce is final.
3-0,
real quick,
baby.
Malik, are the Bucks back on track?
I would say this is the point that we saw Tampa Tom hit when he won that Super Bowl. We've seen at some point in the season, things started turning, right? We saw like, Tom Brady's finished. The team's not looking too good, and they got it together. And that's how the Super Bowl run was, and we need to remember that. You can never count Tom out.
Never, ever, ever. And the defense looked really good. It was a Seattle team that's been a surprise all year, but they've been playing damn good football, and they were shut down. So good for them. Next game, our boy that we've been talking a lot about, I'm just growing to love him more and more. I know you've been riding with him since Ohio State. Justin Fields continues to look awesome, albeit in a 31-30 loss. Real quick, Justin Fields, what are you thinking about him?
That's my boy. I'm gonna have some biases toward him. I hate to see him on a team that's still getting their bearings together. I wish these quarterbacks, that's how the draft works, right? You get chosen by a team that has a shitty record, has a shitty year, and you go there, right? I wish these quarterbacks can kind of come into a system and develop themselves. And no matter what, this just shows you, without a team that has nothing pretty much around him, the fact that he's still developing as a leader and as a quarterback and being able to see the field a lot better, he's playing better. This is, what is this, week 8? This is week 8, right? Week 9?
That was week 10.
10? Damn, I'm all over the place. Oh, bye week as well. Okay.
Yeah, bye week.
So at week 10, seeing this quarterback figuring it out, I love Justin Fields. I cannot wait to see what the Bears. Chicago always shoots himself in the foot. That's just what Chicago does. I mean, the Eagles, without the Bears shooting themselves in the foot, the Eagles don't have that run as well. I remember seeing that kick. So it's like, this is a Chicago thing, right? They kick themselves in the foot. It's about time now. You have your guy. Figure it the fuck out. Draft around him and keep him safe.
Yeah, it's almost best case scenario if you're a Bears fan. I know, we're all competitors, but deep down, if you're a Bears fan, you have to be looking at it as this is almost best case. Our quarterback is developing into a franchise guy, but we're also losing games. Like, they're going to have a top 5, top 6 draft pick to get a real talent to try to help him out. Offensive linemen are huge. Obviously, we've seen his line give him no help at all. So I think Bears are in pretty good shape. He looks awesome. I'm glad that they're finally, coaching around their superstar that he can be.
My only grievance, and I said this last week, was I'm big into body language, and I think I've always been like that in all my sports is, how does your body language look to the opposing team and to your own team as well? And you see a lot of frustration from him. Like, the camera's always on him. Like, after a play of him getting sacked, his face, maybe he just has resting bitch face. I don't know.
Right.
But his face is always like gloomy. Like, he's like, fuck, man. What? Like, he's just in a deer in headlights, but he's still playing his ass off. But he's just like, this shit got to get together. Because honestly, he's not used to losing. I followed him since high school. He was on a Netflix show, QB1. Yeah. I followed him since high school. He was a winner in high school. I followed him when he got to I think it was maybe
he was Georgia. I think he was Georgia.
Yep, Georgia hometown. So when he declared that, I was like, oh, awesome. And then he came to Ohio State. Was winning at Ohio State. So this is the thing of when you make it to the NFL, a lot of these players are not used to losing and dealing with that for the first time, right? This is everyone at the same speed. So I just want his body language in the offseason for him to grow and have some maturity to him.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a great point. You're 100% right. I think it's one of those things that hopefully he does grow into it. At the end of the day, what is he, 23, 24?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
he's still a kid. He's younger than we are. So hopefully he can develop that. But yeah, I mean, the talent's there. Speaking of talent, or I guess lack thereof, the Denver Broncos dropped another one, 17-10 against the Titans. I think you and I talked about this week 3 or 4. Are the Broncos done? Is Russell Wilson done? And we were kind of like, there's just nothing there. There's nothing there. They're boring. They're bad. The Titans are, I mean, they're going to win that division again. They play, if you want to call it a boring brand of football, they play a boring brand of football, but they win these type of games. Are you ready to just stick a fork in the Broncos and let Russell Wilson?
I mean, I was upset when I was seeing the Broncos on Monday Night Football for 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row.
Over and over.
They were going from Thursday night games to two Monday night. Like, it was just annoying, right? So I don't want to watch them play any longer. Ever since then, I haven't watched them at all. I haven't seen anyone talk about Russell. Everyone's canning Russell. I don't like to do that to players when they're in their new a new home. I don't do that because it's still learning a system, and it makes me question what things were, and I think we can't do that yet. What was actually going on in Seattle? Was that Pete Carroll? Was that the defense winning them games? Because Russell is that quarterback. He extends plays. He has a cannon for an arm. Does he not have the right weapons around him? And these are things that I don't write off someone in a new system right away. I want to give it a little bit more time to see. But for this year, I don't see nothing coming from him this year. Yeah.
No, and honestly, going into the rest of this year and even into next, I'd be surprised if that head coach stays. I mean, he just looks like a moron. Again, you gave Russell Wilson the money, so he's there to stay, whether you love him or not. But I think the Broncos, they need something else, man.
Yeah.
Moving on, within the same division, the Chiefs took down the Jaguars 27-17. Malik, hear me out when I say this. I just referred to the Titans brand of football as boring. It's almost getting to the point now where the Chiefs are making explosion look boring. Patrick Mahomes is so good. He makes 350 yards and 3 touchdowns look boring. Am I wrong?
But that's what we're expecting. When you become that great and it's just a weekly expectation, this is the only person you could think as a GOAT, and I'm not goating Patrick Mahomes at all, but the only person you can relate him to is like a LeBron. When we got so used to seeing LeBron make these plays. People talk about these guys. I forgot what interview I was watching, but they were talking about in the NFL, there was this, I forget what wide receiver was, but he was making one-hand catches in practice, and he got Fitzgerald. That's who it was. They talk about Fitzgerald in that way, that he makes such crazy plays that you just become numb to it. So you become numb to the greatness of that team. And the fact that week in and week out, they do their assignments. They're a well-disciplined team. Yep. They play to their strengths. Even if they're down, they're going to still play to their strengths. Nothing's going to change. And that's what we have in, young teams like Dallas, stuff like that. When it goes to overtime, we're going to get this W. We're going to continue to do what we do. We're not going to go off key. And they handle the ball so well, and they're so smart. They're a smart team.
Yeah, it's just so impressive to me. And here we go again. Stop me if you heard this before, but Patrick Mahomes is an MVP favorite. It's so interesting to me that they lose Tyreek Hill, debatably the most explosive wide receiver in the game.
Still killing it.
And he's still killing it. They're both, but they're, it's kind of a breakup. They're both killing right now. But I feel like we all had these cautions of, well, now what are the Chiefs going to be? What's Mahomes going to be? And here we are again. It's week 10, week 11. They're top of the division. They're going to win that division. They very well now may be the 1 seed with the Bills going down. We'll talk about that later. But I mean, again, they're like you said, well-coached team. Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, and that's a pretty damn good recipe. Speaking of MVP,
put him as the best? Do you put him as the best in the league right now?
Probably. I think if I had the number 1 draft pick and all NFL players were around, I think I would go Mahomes.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Now, speaking of MVPs, this is going to be an episode about debate, so I just want to bring this to light and see what your thoughts are. The Miami Dolphins improved 7-3. They took down the Browns 39-17. I think it's time for us to start giving Tua some MVP love. I said this to a couple of my buddies last week, and I said there is serious consideration for me because the Dolphins have not lost a game that he has started and finished. Again, we talked about his concussion and everything. And the Dolphins, man, they just look electric. And again, I brought up the Bills already. We'll talk about them. But with them losing, if the Dolphins can somehow win this division, it's going to be large part of Tua. Going into this weekend, I believe Tua had the 5th best odds as MVP. He now is the 2nd best behind Mahomes. Should Tua be getting more exposure? Should he be getting more MVP love?
The reason it's flacked is with all the things that happened in the beginning of the year, right? The concussion protocols, all that around him kind of quieted up Miami. Miami doesn't want to be in the news right now because either way you put Miami in the news, it's going to revert back to that concussion protocol stuff, right? So they're not pushing that outlet. I think I've been looking, I mean, when you look at Tyreek Hill, I think he's at like 1,000 and something yards already receiving yards, and it's, there's a lot of fucking games. I think he might be able to hit 2, right? Might be able to hit 2 stacks. And if you look at the yardage, I don't have it off the top of my head. It's not 5 yards here and there. Like, he averages like 15 yards. Like, he's up there in his average yards pickups. I think that I don't see them as a long haul team. Like, I don't see them going far into the playoffs to that January, February time. But I think there's something that, like, keep an eye on them. This is definitely the keep your eye on that team. And I love that coach, that young coach. He definitely turned things over in Miami. People want to play in Miami. By Tyreek going there, I mean, he's going back home, right? He's from Florida. Him going back home and can prove some things of, like, this is where you want to get. When you're in those drafts and you're in those draft rooms, you don't want to get that phone call from the fucking Jets, the Dolphins, the Jaguars. Yeah. And at the time, it was Cincy as well, right? Now these teams are starting to change, So I would love to see where they go. I don't see them going far, but definitely put some notice on him. I don't see him winning the MVP, though. His MVP thing is already tainted in my eyes.
You're right. And listen, tainted, and I would even make the argument that concussion stuff helps him, right? Because it's the story. The media loves the story, whether these people, deserve the awards they get or not. It's always what the narrative is. Right. So what you're going to hear if Mahomes wins it is how good he was without Tyreek Hill. There's a story. And if Tua happens to win it, it's going to be he came through all of the concussion protocol stuff. Some doctors were telling him never to play again. And now the Dolphins are an all-world team. I do agree with you that it's almost weird for us to say the Dolphins can be like a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Yeah. It's clear that they're all in when they traded for Bradley Chubb. They brought in another running back that's played for their head coach in San Francisco. I don't know. They can hang with anybody. I think you're right. At the end of the day, playoffs come around, I'd probably take the Bills and the Chiefs and teams like that over them. But you're right. They're definitely changing culture.
Missing. The NFL doesn't want that story out. The NFL does not want he comes back from concussions.
That's a good point.
The NFL doesn't want that. In 3 years, you can say that when it's quieted down, that concussion protocol stuff is gone. Right now, NFL does not want his story to be he overcomes the concussions. He's overcoming all the media hate. That story is not what they want out there. They don't want that story because that just creates flack back to the NFL. So that's where I'm like, he's just due. He put either way. Even to me, I still don't think he should be playing in my eyes from what I've seen, and I just say, dog, it's not worth it. Waddle was just on an interview, I Am Athlete, and he talks about the dog in him, right? He has a competition. In my eyes, he shouldn't be playing. And I have, at a small scale level, I played through so many injuries as a kid. Like, I didn't care. Like, I was like, fuck it, if I can't walk in 20 years, I don't give a fuck. I'm talking like this is right now, right? That's hard to do at that level. When you make it to your dream, it's hard to say, I'm done. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. I mean, you have to be that competitive to a certain extent to make it to that league. And you know what? It's also, helps when you're making, the big bucks that you have coming down the road as well.
I was at Palmyra High School. That's two different things.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. The biggest storyline, Malik, I think we had going into this Sunday was what the hell were the Colts thinking hiring their former offensive lineman who has no coaching experience, and here they come with a 25-20 win against the Raiders. Raiders are a nightmare. I'm tipping my cap to the Colts and Jeff Saturday, man. We both gave him some shit. I think everybody gave him some shit. We talk about it every week. It's hard to win games in this league. He went out, man, and those guys played for him.
Hey, I mean, it still is the Raiders, right? Still the Raiders. Right. We're not going to discount that. But the way he commands the locker room, his locker room speech after the game was, to me, one of the best. Like, you guys outworked them. You put the work in and you dog through this. He definitely shut my mouth. He shut a lot of people up in the league and showed a lot of people. We put their foot in their mouth, right? Like,
he did.
Coming out, like, let's see what the fuck they can do, right? Like, let's see what this team can hold up to become with his leadership, whatever that boat may be, even if it's just for this year and then he doesn't come back. No matter what, it still is an interesting story of what the fuck. We still need some justification as to what the fuck was this decision? Why did they go with this decision? But he definitely said, shut the fuck up. I'm meant to be here. It is what it is. And hey, all applause, man. We were wrong, and I'm okay with saying I was wrong in this essence.
Can you? Sorry, bro. You froze for a second.
Was it froze?
Yeah.
You're good. You're back now. But yeah, like I said, like I think he shut us all up. And
yeah,
in my eyes, all I can do is say I was wrong, and I respect him for that. That's it.
Yeah. I think you and I texted each other about it because our show dropped right before his initial press conference, and I think we both had the same mindset from his press conference. Like you just said, he came out and said, "Listen, I'm here, whether you like it or not. I may suck at this. I may be great at this. I don't know, but what I can do is lead a group of men. I've been around leaders, Hall of Famers, Super Bowl champions. Like I've been around the league, and there is something to be said about hiring these former guys that have that mindset." And they did it. And I think they're going to get a wake-up call on Sunday against the Birds, but we'll talk about that later.
I mean, but when you stand tall and you play he was a center, right?
Yeah. Yep.
When you play as a center and your starting quarterback was the Hall of Fame quarterback of all, like one of the best of all time,
the best ever.
You can stand in there. And that position at center is the quarterback of the offense as well. You're the second quarterback in my eyes. So he has knowledge. He has the resume that speaks for itself. So
it was impressive.
Yeah.
Speaking of impressive, our division rival, man, the Giants, they don't know how to lose. 24-16 win against the Texans. I know it's the Texans, but I feel like we have this talk every week. What are the Giants? Give them their flowers, I guess, to a certain extent. I mean, it's tough to be 7-2.
It's tough to be 7-2, but I don't see them going above 500 from this point on. And let me tell you why. And the last end of their schedule is pretty tough.
It is.
They play Washington twice. They play you guys twice. I think they play us. Do they play us one more time? Yeah, they play us one more time. We've already beat them once. So I give them that win. It's 1-1. I don't see them beating you guys more than none. I don't see them beating you guys at all. And Washington, they may get one.
Yeah.
And the rest
I think they play the Vikings as well.
Thank you. It is the Vikings. They're not winning versus the Vikings.
No, hell no.
Like, this is what I'm saying. The rest of the schedule, I call them frauds. Like, I think they're frauds. I don't see them. Hey, you won fucking games. Saquon Barkley is the comeback player of the year in my eyes. He dogged it out, and that's what I've always loved Saquon. I'm proud to see where he's come back from all the injuries, but this tail end of the schedule, if they can stay above 500 after this point, then there's something to talk about. That's why I said I have no concerns with them coming up. But that's what you told me when we were texting. Be careful with the Giants creeping up on you. I have no concerns with the way their schedule is slated.
You're right. I think, I agree with you. They may beat Dallas. I don't see the Eagles losing to them. If they do, it's only going to be once. And remember, one of those games is the last game of the year for us. So let's just pretend the Eagles take care of business and they're resting starters. There's another win. Like, this Giants team's going to win 10 games, which is very weird to say. And I don't know. I think in the playoffs they probably get bounced. But I think when you look in the future, if they can get a legit quarterback, because I'm not a big Daniel Jones guy, I don't know. They might be able to make some noise.
Me either. My boy that I worked with at TCNJ, he bigged him up saying like he had the fastest clock on field 40 time, and he fell on his feet.
Yeah, it happened against the Eagles. He fell down. So
I was like, "What are we fucking talking about, bro?" He told you. Like, I mean, in my eyes, my debate is the Giants. I hate that the Giants, for a while, they had that thing with the Eagles, right? The Eagles were undefeated. The Giants were like, "Oh my God, we've only lost one. We're still up there too." No, like everyone was kind of quieting that debate down. Like they were just like put this like, but no one's worried about you type of thing towards the Giants.
You're right. It is weird because again they keep on winning, but I think, and I don't know, we can be wrong. I think if you just look in the grand scheme of things with the Eagles and Cowboys, like listen, no disrespect to the Giants, they're going to make the playoffs, but I think in terms of anything more than that, they won't. But
you think they're making the playoffs?
They will make they're going to win 10, 11 games. They're going to make the playoffs. Remember, there's an extra seed now. So there's 3 wild card teams. So they're gonna steal one of them.
I don't have them making it. And I don't have them making it.
All right. Well, we'll see. We will see. Yeah. I got 2 more games to hit on. One of them probably the game of the year. Yeah. The Minnesota Vikings, Buffalo Bills. If you didn't watch it, I feel bad for you. Go back and watch just the last 10 minutes of the game. Kirk Cousins stopped at the 1-yard line. We're thinking the game's over. 6'5", 245-pound Josh Allen fumbles a snap in his own end zone. Vikings recover. Bills go down, tie the game, OT. Vikings hit the field goal, and Josh Allen throws an interception to end the game. The big question coming out of this, because the Vikings were the team that was, 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, but the argument was, again, as we talked about a lot, their schedule, who they played, they really only played one legit team. It was the Eagles. They busted their ass. They just beat on the
debate on you guys though.
No, and you will, but I'm just saying in the grand scheme, like whatever reservations we had about the Vikings,
squeaking. They were
and squeaking by.
Yeah.
They just beat a lot of people's Super Bowl pick in their own house. It's another one of those things that I don't know how far the Vikings can get.
Yeah.
But to be 8-1, their division sucks. They just beat the Bills on the road. They may not have to have a tough road to make it to an NFC Championship game. I think they proved to a lot of people that at the very least you have to respect us as one of the league's better teams.
So you don't even have to watch the full 10 minutes. If I were you, I would just watch the fucking last 3 minutes. like that's it. Like that game was definitely in my eyes. It rivals the last year Bills versus Kansas City.
It does.
So when we look at their schedule, they play the Patriots. That's a W.
Yep.
They play us next week. That can go anyway.
You're right, and I'm afraid that's a game the Cowboys like weirdly win.
Well, we have no choice with the way we played last week, right?
Yep.
I see. I'll flip a coin on that one. It depends on who shows up, right? And we have the Patriots. That's a W. The Jets W. Lions W. Colts W, Giants W, Packers W, Bears W. In my eyes,
exactly.
In my eyes, that's if everything goes right. That's still what we have to take in consideration when we look at this game. We still have to take in consideration of who is their starting quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't win that game.
Kirk Thuggins
did not. He wasn't thugging that game. And by the end of it, you start seeing like this is what separates starters from someone that's in a position that has to play and is a starter. And I would say, to be honest with you, that's Dak.
Thank you. I was going to say it, and in my head, I'm like, he better not argue with me. But you're right. You're right.
That's Dak, and that's beside the point, right? We'll take it from there. But when I looked at that game, I look at, first of all, I could tell Josh Allen's hurt. He shouldn't be out there playing right now, and the dude is a dog. Even though I hate the Bills, I hate Josh Allen. The dude's a dog.
Yep.
When I looked at that game, it was like, what the fuck? Like, I called my dad. I'm like, yo, this game's crazy, bro. Jefferson, throw away A.J. Brown.
That catch was better than the Odell catch in 2013.
So we could debate about that as well, because you know who that was against. Everyone talks about, and I look at that as a rival like this. This is how I take that analogy, right? Iverson got famous off of what? That one move that listen. AI got famous off that one move he did against MJ, right?
Mm-hmm.
MJ still went to score 30 and won the game. OBJ got famous off that one catch.
Yeah, you're okay.
We still won that game. This right here is something totally different. This is Jefferson going up. I have no idea. In my eyes, that's the best catch I've ever seen.
I agree.
One hand. Fuck, I don't know, bro, because Odell was like fucking yoga posing it. It's so hard.
Here's my thing. Odell was wide open, right? You just said it was against the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. If that was against the Cincinnati Bengals, a 1:00 game, I don't know if it's talked about as much. Justin Jefferson, one-handed, went up and ripped it out of a defender's two hands with the game on the line, 4th down and 15. A horrific throw.
18. I think it was 4th and 18.
Yeah, 4th and 18. Ripped it out of another grown man's hands.
And it didn't touch the floor. That's what was crazy to me. That, okay, you go up, you could be going up fighting for it. They weren't fighting for it in the air. He had like a finger on it. Bringing it down and still being able to take it out and maintain full control without it going to the floor. Fuck, I ain't going to say that, but hey, he's beating A.J. Brown for the year. I would say that as a top wide receiver.
He is, and I'm going to say one more thing. When the Vikings played the Eagles, Darius Slay held on to 1 catch, 2 yards. But, we can have that debate if we want to have it.
That was what week?
That was week 2 this season.
That's week 2.
Anyway, One more game before we dive into it. We can go over this one pretty quickly. It was Sunday Night Football. 49ers beat the Chargers 22-16. I think we can agree the 49ers are good. They're a solid football team.
Who gives a fuck? That's all I care. Let's move on.
Yeah. All right, so let's start it. I'm going to end it with the Monday night game, the one that everybody wanted to see.
Before we jump into this one, this is going to be a debate. Shout out to our sponsor of today. Today's sponsor is brought to you by TB3 Hookah. You see me smoking on the hookah. That's thank you to our supplier, Jersey's #1 online hookah retailer. With their vast variety of flavors, coals, and hookahs, and so much more, they make the priority to satisfy all of your hookah essentials. Enjoy all of your favorite products in no time with their fast, easy shipping. Here at TB3 Hookah, you are a priority. Use the discount code TRUST to save 10% on your next TB3 hookah order. Again, that's TRUST for 10% off your order. Now in Jersey, especially if you're in South Jersey, this is your guy to use. I would say when I deal with prices down here, you always deal with the upkeep of we don't play up north prices. Up north prices are always better than South Jersey prices. So if you're looking for an amazing retailer, he has all the products. And if he doesn't, you can easily DM him and he can get that for you. Any of your needs. So please, again, use code TRUST for 10% off. The website is below, but if you're listening, it is www.tb3hookah.com. www.tb3hookah.com. Use code TRUST for 10% off.
Love it. And for all my Philly people, drive over the bridge, man. 20-minute drive. It'll be well worth it.
Order online, baby.
There you go. Well, listen, I appreciate you saying that. I hope you have your hookah on hand because you're going to need it to, relax a little bit. Our debate of the week, as everybody knows, I'm sure a lot of fans are rooting for. The Dallas Cowboys and Philadelphia Eagles both lost tough games that they probably should have won. So the argument and the debate we're going to have, and there's going to be good reasons for both, I'm sure, whose Week 10 loss was more concerning? Was it the Cowboys or was it the Eagles? Malik, I'll let you start. Say whatever you need to say. Talk your shit like I know you can do so well.
Okay. So I think we are going to agree on this one. I have no idea where you're going to go, but I think we're going to agree on this one, and it's going to be my Cowboys.
I'm surprised to hear you say that.
I was going to debate and say, hey, you know what? Should I flip it and just be an asshole and say the Eagles, right? Should we be Shannon Sharp and fucking bitch-ass Skip? No, I'm going to keep it real with you guys. I think it's more concerning with that Cowboys loss, and here's why. No matter what, I can't put excuses out there. It still is A-Rod in my eyes. He's the Brady. In my eyes, he's one of the top. I can never say he creates weapons. It is always A-Rod. I would take A-Rod as a quarterback in a heartbeat, right? But when I look at this loss, I think that it proves to the point that a lot of us Cowboys fans were scared to actually say, we knew in the back of our minds, he is today's time Tony Romo. In my heart, and this is what we deal with, right? We deal with Tony Romo being an okay player, a good player during the year, but can he win me that big game? And that's a distrust that it sucks having as a fan. Because when it goes into overtime, I'm taking A-Rod 100% over Dak. I don't trust Dak. I don't trust Dak to throw a 10 out and be on point, right? And when I looked at that game, I said, I can't blame the defense. I could look at that score and say, going into halftime, we were up 28-14, and we didn't score a point after that. As an NFL defense, holding A-Rod, okay, with no weapons, at the time, we didn't know who the fuck this rookie star was, right, who has had mad drops. And I want to preface this. I don't have a cable package to watch Skip and all those. I don't watch any sports talks. Anything I see is off of Twitter, and if it's not on Twitter, I don't see it. So I don't come with debates of these are all my true, like, watching the games, what I'm getting from it. Before going into that game, I said to Kat, I was at the gym watching it after halftime. It's when I got to the gym and I was watching on my phone. I was pissed off to see how much of a bitch Mike McCarthy is. I am sick and tired of his fucking nonsense of thinking he's the fucking greatest coach of all time because of what he did in Green Bay. What the fuck do you mean you couldn't sleep? You're drinking so much coffee before the game. You stayed up since 4 a.m. You come to the stadium at 8 a.m. Now it's released that him and A-Rod had a discussion in an office space before the game. What the fuck are we doing? What are we doing? Is this not ball or just fucking, what is this, 5? Like, what is, this is ball. This is prime time. Green Bay versus the fucking Cowboys. And he's fucking having cocoa with the fucking starting quarterback. What a welcome home party. No, there's no welcome home. Shit went bad there. You should have all the bad blood, and it should be fuck this team. Let's go up and put 50 on them. That's one of my gripes things, right? What else is this proof? Dak throwing 2 picks no matter what. It's 58% for completion. It's dumb play calling. This is what I'm saying, like coaching and then players being able to make plays in big time games. Dak's not that guy. Coaching proves it differently. Mike McCarthy goes on camera and says, we were able to move the ball, so I thought we can keep going and go on 4th down. First of all, he's a pussy. He couldn't even throw his headset the right way. He's so unathletic. Yeah. Secondly, we weren't moving the ball. We moved the ball 3 times with flags. That tells you we're not moving the fucking ball. Yep. That's not moving the ball. And it's troubling to see that no matter what, Dak can't win me the big games. I can love you all I want. And I know Jerry Jones will never get rid of him. I mean, we have him until, I wrote down here, what do we have him until 2025? He's not getting rid of him. And he might fucking re-sign him again. Yeah. Until we make the decision that we need to do something different, we're fucked. And we never will win the big game. And again, I'm not the fan that's going to tell you, oh, it's this far, it's this far. No, we suck. Dak is not the guy. I love him. Dak's not the guy. Zeke's not the fucking guy. It's hard to say. We had our chance. We didn't win it when we went the fucking crazy. It's just, they're done. It's time to fucking go through this hell now. Let's rebuild. We got our back. I say put Tony Pollard in there. Fuck Zeke. Zeke's done. His knees are always fucked up. And I think we just need to have the real discussion that it's time to cut ties, and it's time to realize Mike McCarthy isn't the guy either. If we could fire a coach midseason, I would have fucking fired him too. That 4th down play calling was the worst play calling I've ever seen in my life. And that goes back to our offensive coordinator. We need a new offensive coordinator. We have a backup quarterback. That was a backup quarterback to Dak as our offensive coordinator. What are we doing? Yep. So I think what loss is more troubling? The Cowboys.
I'm loving this. And you would have thought that this is like a copy my homework thing, because I'm looking at my notes. The very first thing I have is, yes, in my eyes, clearly the Cowboys loss was more concerning. I have 3 big reasons why. And the first one, you just touched on it. Dak is not the big game guy. I looked at a couple of stats. What Dak Prescott does, and this shouldn't go, unrewarded to a certain extent, but he's been beaten up on bad teams, specifically the NFC East, which has been brutal until this year since he's came into this league. The Giants have been dog shit, Washington's been dog shit, and the Eagles have had a few years when they've just been dog shit. And he's been beaten up on the bad teams. And that's fine. You're an average quarterback. That's what you're supposed to do. The roster is always better. That's fine. When it comes down to, like you just said, the first year, playoff loss at home to the Packers. Look at last year, home playoff loss to the 49ers that everybody saw coming because he's not a big game quarterback. In reality, you're right. This from a broad scheme of things is the Cowboys lost to a bad football team that came in losers of 5 in a row. It was a team that was reeling with an older quarterback. You're right, an all-time talent, but an older quarterback who is withering away before our eyes that has 0 talent, who – again, this Dallas defense, and I'll touch on this, made a rookie wide receiver who couldn't catch the damn ball turn into a superstar overnight. Dak can't win the big games. And I think we talked about it last week. As bad as the Packers are, it's still Green Bay and Dallas in Lambeau on prime time. That's a prime time game. Dak yet again could not do it.
I think we have to also mention, when I look at that defense, I take nothing else from that defensive line. I say without the pressure and the amount of sacks that we had at the defensive line position, we had wide receivers running. They had wide receivers running wide open the whole game. Yeah. If A-Rod just had another second, we're easily lose that game by 3 touchdowns. Easy. He had people running down the field wide open. That goes to Diggs. Diggs, you can't cover this fucking rookie.
Exactly.
I don't give a fuck if he's the fastest player on the Packers team. Fucking cover it. Defensive back coach, cover it. Zone. Exactly. I hate this little fucking bullshit ass zone. Man the fuck up. Yep. Man up. Let's go man to man. We know who's beating us. 3 touchdowns. Yep. At what point do we say let's man the fuck up, fuck playing the zone shit, and let's play ball? I hate that zone shit because in my eyes, that zone shit gives you up a 5-yard or it gives you up a 15-yarder. So I hate it at all times.
Every time. And now that's my second point, and I know we're going to touch on the Eagles, but it's the same bullshit the Eagles did playing this bullshit soft zone. I just don't know if Diggs is the premier cornerback that everybody says. He's a ball guy, but he's not. I see a ton of people just dick riding this guy because the interceptions that he has. Okay, all right, everybody but Malik thinks that he is a what?
I always said I don't care for picks. Picks in my eyes for the Cowboys never. I would say half those picks turn into a positive scoring option. Stop it, punt, let's come back, let's drive the field. We need to have a drive that accumulates to something. I don't like a cornerback that plays the ball. He plays front face, goes for the ball, and gets beat. I don't want my defense getting beat like that. And I've said that from the beginning. To me, Diggs is soft as fuck, and he plays the ball too much. I don't want that. And I've said that from the beginning. Even when people would dig him up, he has 8 picks in a row, 8 games in a row. That wasn't something I was applauding. He gave the most fucking yards in the fucking league.
Yep, exactly.
Go hand to hand?
You're right, and I agree with you. That my second point with why this loss for Dallas is concerning. This team is built, and we just talked about Dak. This team is built, especially with Tony Pollard in there, who did his thing. This loss is not on him. Over 100 yards, another TD.
Yeah.
Run the ball, work off the run, and have this defense that, again, a lot of people talk about as one of the better defenses in the league, have them take control. You had a 2-touchdown lead. Your team is literally built to control the clock and have your defense suffocate the other team, and that didn't happen. So that's cause for concern when literally the foundation of your team was exposed to, again, a bad football team coming in.
Bad football team.
And then, again, the third note I had, we touched on it, copied my homework, must have. It's Mike McCarthy. As an Eagles fan, I hope he never leaves because you're not going to win anything with him at the helm. He looks like an idiot. He looks disengaged half the time. If I was a Cowboys fan, I don't know how the hell I would deal with it, but the dude just looks like a fucking moron.
I think he has no idea what he's doing.
And listen, maybe
it's awful. Go ahead. Sorry.
I cut you off. I apologize, but maybe he was getting coffee with Rodgers before the game because he said, "Yo, you're the only reason I'm still in this league. You're the reason I got paid because Rodgers dragged his ass to a Super Bowl, kept him around in Green Bay until he didn't want him anymore, and then Dallas said, "Oh, you know what? You did this thing before that we haven't done in a while. We'll give you this money and be the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys." Maybe he was just paying back Rodgers for all the good fortune that's come his way.
Yo, man, I think I don't want to keep harping on it, but it was a heartbreak to watch because it was like finally we're beating Green Bay. A-Rod always has our number, no matter when he fucking plays it.
Yeah,
A-Rod always has the number, so it's like, oh, we can actually win this game. I don't see us losing the game, and then just slowly, like we had some turnovers. We have to capitalize on the turnovers. You can't get 2 turnovers and then just not capitalize on them. They're giving you gifts. Capitalize on them. Dak Prescott is fucking going into halftime. You throw a pick in the fucking red zone.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
You throw a pick in the red zone. What the fuck are we doing? He looks like he's just out of it.
Both of his interceptions were bad. God.
Biggest point that I left off, and this is why I say Dak's not the guy. If you saw, I always watch the press conferences. That's one of the things I do watch to see what is talked about after. So maybe there's some things I missed out in the game, right, that they can shed light on. That goes, it's miscommunication between the wide receivers. Would you want Hurts going up there and saying, pretty much putting blame on your wide receivers and tight end on CeeDee Lamb and Schultz? Mind you, I give it to you. CeeDee Lamb does not go up to break up some questionable picks. Like some of those things, CeeDee, get in front of it. Try to bat it down. Try to get in the way of something. If it's misthrown, CeeDee Lamb gives up on the ball. Okay, I'll give you that. Miscommunication could happen. You're the fucking quarterback. You take all the heat.
Yeah.
Especially on America's team. You take the fucking heat. That's it.
I mean, the communication starts and ends with the quarterback. And not to mention, this isn't an Aaron Rodgers situation where he's throwing to 3 rookie wide receivers. Dak has had this group of guys for 2-3 years now. 2-3 full off seasons, 2-3 full seasons, playoffs. That's not if there's an excuse of there's miscommunication, that's a much bigger issue than maybe a receiver dropping the ball or running the wrong route. If it's miscommunication with guys that have been on this roster together for 2 to 4 years, oh boy, I didn't see that, but that's troubling.
I mean, in my eyes, CeeDee Lamb balled out. Pollard didn't exceed my expectations. Let's not forget, Pollard is a backup running back. This is 2 games in a row where Pollard's getting majority of the handoffs. That's a lot he's even said the last game, I got to come out. The last game, he didn't play like the last 5 minutes. He had nothing in the tank left. We ran the fuck out of Pollard. Like we can't just put it all on Pollard's back, and he hasn't been a starter all game, getting all those carries, and has more carries and yardage than Zeke this year. So, Dak in my eyes is this game in my eyes is the debate for more trouble, and because of the position that we now see Dak in.
Exactly. It's when it boils down to it in the NFL, who's your starting quarterback, who's your head coach, and right now Dallas has at best an average quarterback, and in my eyes, a bottom 5 head coach in the league.
I agree, brother.
Got to be. But I know you got a lot to talk about. I'll let you take things over now. Have your little fun with the Eagles again. They dropped their first one. I have a lot of thoughts on this, but I'll let you start off.
I have besides being a fucking Cowboys fan, the only thing I can say is just laugh about it. Finally, I couldn't wait for this day to happen, right? So I want to bring Eagles fans back to reality, right? Because it's not. I don't think this game means nothing to me. Like, this is not like a, oh my God, this is the turning point of the year. Let's see in 3 games. If we start seeing some losses happen in the next 3 games, then we can talk about, oh shit, are they in trouble? This was just a one-off, finally, fuck their record, fuck up their little whatever's going on, kumbaya moments for Eagles fans. Let's bring the city back to light, calm them the fuck down, bring them the reality. But in my eyes, this is not troubling at all. It's just, finally we control the Eagles. We haven't been able to. And that's all I can say. I want to see what your perspective was on the. I'm not gonna lie to you. I turned it on probably. I was at the gym when this one came on. So watching after the second quarter is when I started watching intensely, as I was working out. So in my eyes, what I'm hearing is, and you tell me if I'm wrong, the defense played like shit. Slay played like shit. I don't know about the play calling on the offensive side. I'd like to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, you've given me the compliment of being a rational fan, and I appreciate that. But I know I can be irrational, especially right when that game ends. You're at your most passionate, your emotions are on your sleeve. But even after the game ended, 2 minutes after, you texted me about it. I came at the Cowboys, joking fun. But then I texted you, this was just a game. The Eagles were outworked. They were outplayed. They were physically beat down. Honestly, the score of that game and how close that was should never have been a thing. Washington should have crushed us. It was time of possession. They did whatever they wanted on the offensive side. My main worry with this team is our first-round draft pick, Big Jordan Davis from Georgia, went down with an injury. He'll be out for another few weeks. Since then, Malik, you could have 100 yards rushing on this defense. It's bad. It's really bad. There's nothing up the middle. Our defensive coordinator, wherever you ship Mike McCarthy off to, wherever you shoot him in space, take our defensive coordinator with you, because he has been horrible since he's gotten here. There's a lot of talent on the defensive side that has been masking how bad he's been. Slay, I don't think he was that bad. It's just, again, what you said of this bullshit soft zone where these receivers are just sitting. They're running 10 to 15 yards, and they're sitting in one spot, and they're getting hit. That's going to beat you every single time. So I don't think Slay played like shit. I just think he happened to be where he was supposed to. But the play calling is such bullshit that, I think a normal NFL fan is saying, oh, Slay got beat again? Yeah. He probably got beat on a few marks, but by no means was Darius Slay, who's been one of the better covered corners in the past 3 years, just all of a sudden torched by Taylor Heineke. The defensive coordinating was horrible. Yeah. I think what it boils down to is they were never going to go undefeated. The loss was coming. There's a reason why the 72 Dolphins were the last team to go undefeated and win a Super Bowl, because it just doesn't happen. I was tired of hearing it. I just wanted to go week by week, enjoy the games, win whatever you can. They got punched in the mouth.
This is where I jump in, though. Okay. It's an easy cop-out to say that I'm glad we don't have to worry about the record anymore.
I think to an extent, yeah, it is. But, and again, I'll touch on this with why I'm not too worried because of our locker room and the guys we have in there. The Eagles were punched in the mouth, division rival, worst team in the division, fucking punched you right in your gut, right in your fucking teeth on national TV with everyone watching the 8-0 Eagles, and you got fucking run over. Mm-hmm. I'm not worried because I have faith in guys like Jason Kelce, Jalen Hurts with his mentality. Like, everybody I heard talk after that game, it was Jalen Hurts saying, that's not going to happen again. Like, we will be better. It was Jason Kelce saying, I don't want to hear the missed face mask call. it wasn't a face mask call. I just sent it to you earlier because it didn't happen. It wasn't called. Like, we're not going to blame it on one or two plays. Like, we played like shit. AJ Brown, I heard him say, yo, now we don't need to worry about the 7-0 bullshit. I think it may be a little bit of a cop-out, but you could have the strongest locker room in the league, and you could have dudes that really are honed in week by week. You've played this game before. You know emotions can get the better of you. That noise gets louder and louder with each passing week, to an extent where I don't care how focused you are. We see whenever they score a damn touchdown, they're dancing and they have all these dances, lined up, and that's great. But, it's one of these things, like, don't get in your own head. And these are professional athletes. Like, they have swagger to them that can sometimes turn into a little bit of cockiness of, man, you know what? We are unstoppable. We're fucking 7-0, 8-0. Like, we're winning every single week. No problem. Now maybe they were humbled. And again, I'd rather this game happen now than first round of the playoffs when it's like, well, what the fuck? Like,
yeah,
what's happening? We have no idea. They really haven't had a game where everything's gone wrong. Everything went wrong. We had injuries. We had horrible turnovers. There were a few missed calls. Like, everything that could have happened wrong did. And now let's just go from there. I really want to see this Sunday against the Colts. Like, they just come out and fucking smoke them. It's all about now. Now it's the response. That game's well and done. If they come out sloppy on Sunday, we're going to have this discussion next week. I'm going to be a little bit worried.
With was this the first time? I think I saw some of this. Was the first time you guys ever went into halftime down?
Yeah, first time all year that we trailed in the second half.
Wow, that's something to speak about as well. Now, and in this debate, when I was looking at this week's teams, right, who's the wide receiver of this year? AJ Brown or Jefferson? Who do you think is the wide receiver of the year?
Probably right now, Jefferson.
Without that game, do you still say that?
Probably.
Okay.
Probably. And I don't think it's a Justin Jefferson 1, AJ Brown 10. Like, I think AJ Brown is, again, I've watched him all year long. The dude can fucking ball, but okay. I mean, Jefferson's just a different breed.
Yeah, I think it's funny that even after that game, I still saw the Eagles game. People saying I can't wait for Christmas or the Christmas Eve or whatever like that to play the Cowboys, and I was like, by that time you guys are fucking sitting your team. Are you fucking dumb? Like, we'll probably win because you're sitting your fucking team. Like, what are we talking? Like, this is what I'm saying. The dumbass fans are like, but the Cowboys. Like, no, that has nothing to do with what the fuck the discussion is right now. It has nothing to do with that. Again, it's just to be able to troll. And for damn sure, my phone went. I put "Do Not Disturb" on, and when I was driving home from the gym. What happened? They kicked the field goal and won. "Do Not Disturb" came on. I didn't even watch them kick the field goal. I just turned it off. And Cal was like, "What are you doing? Watch it." I'm like, "What? It's over. Like, we just lost the dumbass game." Got home, turned on the Eagles game. Let's fucking get it, baby. My spirits go higher to see. That it's a fucked up Monday when you go into a Monday and you guys lose in that fashion. But to be able to say, like, no matter what, if the Eagles lose and the Cowboys lose, both fans are like, all right, at least we both fucking took the L. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, it's just to talk shit to say that the Eagles fucking fun with the bag. And it is still funny to say that boy Heineke's something different. I think what
he is, man.
Is Heineke should definitely be playing somewhere in the league. And I think that it's still funny that with the play calling, of course, you would say, in my eyes, that face mask had nothing to do with the fumble. The ball's already out by the time that face mask hit.
No, it didn't have anything to do with the fumble. Again, the gripe was the fumble doesn't. The fumble is nulled by the penalty. So again, I was more frustrated in the fact that an illegal hit now took out one of our better offensive weapons for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Like that to me, it's the face mask call is a call for safety. It's the same reason you can't headhunt. It's to protect these guys. So at the very least, call the penalties that are going to protect your guys. I don't care if they missed a holding call on a touchdown.
Yeah.
That would be different.
Yeah.
But to drag somebody down like that, like I was more pissed now that he's hurt versus, fumbling the ball.
And to be honest with you, I don't know what the fuck that judge was looking dead at it.
Yeah.
Like he looks like he's dead in front of it. He just is like, "Oh, that's a fumble." I think he just watched the fumble and not the face mask at all. I think it's bullshit that people are saying that late hit on Heineke was bullshit. 100% wasn't. If you look at it and they busted on with the boys, they broke it down and they said, like, okay, let's put this in slow motion. He's still 7 yards out. He's 7 yards out as Heineke falls down. Now, mind you, Heineke fell down on some weird shit. He just went down.
Yeah,
he didn't extend the play. So I get it, but still, as a veteran in the league, what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly. And listen, it's tough, right? The argument with that penalty in general, let alone, the one that just happened to the Eagles, the argument is these are big dudes going full speed. Like, it's hard to pull up, and it is. But as soon as that play happened, and I was texting, a couple of my different friends that are Eagles fans, that's bullshit, that's bullshit. I was fighting with them. I was like, no, it's not. No, it's not. First of all, like you just said, he's 5 yards away from him still. If you're going full speed, like twist, do something. You're an incredible athlete to where you can stop an extent where you're not putting all of your weight on a guy that is giving himself up on a play. Was it, again, like you just said, probably a bullshit way for Heineke to go down? Maybe, but he was trying to win a fucking game, and he did.
Yeah. No, but that's not – you can say that you can say that, oh, he could have eased up in an open field play. No. This isn't a quarterback 15 yards downfield and a DB's coming screaming down, right? That's not that. He's 5 yards in the backfield. He's not going anywhere. He's down. Like you don't ease up on that. You're running at him. He goes down and you stop. You have 7 yards to stop.
And listen, that was, one of my favorite players, Brandon Graham, and he'll definitely pay back for that.
100%.
But watching that game, in that play call, as soon as they're passing it, and Heineke said it afterwards, if the first read isn't there, as soon as he escapes the pocket, he's not throwing that ball away. He's not going to throw it up and try to create a bad turnover. He's going to go down to try to force you to call a timeout, or if you didn't have one, continue to run the clock. Mm-hmm. You knew he was going to do that. Mm-hmm. So literally just run. Mm-hmm. And again, he's on the ground. So you had to not only run at him, but you had to put yourself and force yourself on top of him when he's on the ground. Throw that flag 10 times out of 10 every time it happens.
Now, is the rule on that play, if he's in the backfield, slides down, is he down or does he have to still be touched?
So that's the thing. When you take a knee like that, it's all about like giving yourself up.
Yeah.
So there is something to be said that, who knows, maybe the ref doesn't say he's down and he pops up and makes the greatest play we've ever seen and throws it 60 yards down the field. Yeah, probably. But I don't know, man. Again, what play it's going to be. He's going to give himself up like that when he's running back 15 yards. What else do you think he's going to do?
Yeah.
He's going to waste as much time as possible. Just sprint at him. He's going to go down is exactly what he did. It was a bad play.
It was hilarious. I was watching not watching, but I saw a tweet. It was like it was like a couple hours before the game ended and someone's watching the game and they were like, have you ever played Madden? And when Madden makes the decision that you're going to lose this game regardless, now you'll be playing Madden. He was like, this is how this Eagles game feels. It feels like no matter what, we're losing this game just off the way that the Eagles are playing dumb. I mean, that fumble that started that turnover, when he pops up and starts to take off running, the Eagles player, who was that?
Quez Watkins, which should have been a touchdown if he just knows how to track a ball. That's a perfectly thrown ball.
Ball, right?
He closes his eyes and walks in backwards.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason to even dive at that ball.
Exactly. So that's what it was. I was like, without that, you guys win that game because there's no way they're coming down and scoring that quick. And I don't – now, when I make that transition, like, okay, they go down and the Eagles score. Heineke, what? How much time was left? A minute, some change left? Mm-hmm. He's not going down. I don't have faith in Heineke going down there and winning the game for you guys with that much time. With the rest with the Commanders, he doesn't win that game in my eyes. So
yeah,
it's funny. We gotta talk about this one. Calvin, you gotta come on. We gotta talk to you about this Commanders game and see what your thoughts were.
Yeah, it's listen, it's one of those things that it was a stupid penalty, but whenever you had, I think the Eagles had 7 minutes time of possession, like midway through the third quarter. Like, what the fuck else do you expect? Like, you're gonna lose that game every single time. But again, Eagles went into that game number 1 seed in the NFC. They came out of it the same way. So it is what it is. Like I said, I'm more worried about how they're gonna respond versus whatever that was. But I mean, we're gonna see. I do think that they take control of the Colts this week, though.
So going forward, we're a little more halfway through the season. Any thoughts? Anything glaring in your eyes?
No, I think, honestly, when it looks – you're talking about just the Eagles?
In general, the league. Like, where are you seeing things go? I think it's starting to get spicier. We're starting to see the league turn up a little bit. It's starting to get colder. Teams are starting to play against the wall.
Yeah, you're right. I think in the next couple weeks, like, we're going to see the top-tier teams start to kind of pull away. I feel like it's just been a weird season.
Yeah.
We've talked about it before. There's just a lot of bad football going on. But no, I think the top teams are going to kind of, take control. The bad teams are going to start, blowing up a little bit, and the mid-tier teams are going to, I guess, fall in line or lose games they're supposed to. Like, there's only a few real teams I think you can look at that you wouldn't be surprised of winning the Super Bowl. Like, I think there's really only 2 or 3 teams at this point. So I don't know. It's been a weird
way
year.
This year is going. You never know how the end is gonna end up, though. The way that the year has been looking so far, we'll see. You never know. Some upsets and some games like we just saw this weekend. Football was good this weekend in the NFL. I feel like after we had the discussion of the NFL sucks, shit changed.
Yeah, this was definitely the best week. Yeah, it was definitely the best week. Yeah, that's for sure.
I would agree.
Awesome.
Do you have something?
No, I got nothing else on that.
So something that kind of hit the waves yesterday was, did you see that Tom Brady text to AB?
Yeah, I did. That was real?
I don't know. I was like, if this is real, it's like I love seeing Tom Brady calling out AB. I want to see this story develop and see if it is real because AB he just leaked a sex tape of himself. Like, he is just nonsense, bro. If you want to talk about it, people are like, if you want to follow 2 careers of how to destruct your career, follow Antonio Brown and fucking Kyrie Irving. These are 2 ways to do so. But I don't even want to talk about who with the Kyries. I'm not reading. Yeah. They might pull this episode down. But I think in my eyes, across sports, we gotta bring someone on here that could talk about basketball because I don't give a fuck about basketball. I haven't even cared at this point.
Yeah, we do. Listen, I was going to say, just touching on that, shout out Joel Embiid. Played one of the best games I've ever seen.
Really?
The other night, had 59 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists, 7 blocks. Unbelievable.
He almost put up 60?
He almost put up 60. He almost put up a quadruple double.
Damn. I don't know. Maybe I'll start paying attention.
He's a big
Yo, we gotta go to a Sixers game, man. We gotta plan that out.
We do. We'll try to get we'll get some basketball people on here.
Yeah, right.
Go to that. But we've talked about this before. Basketball season doesn't start until Christmas for me. So
facts. Who are your guys that are Eagles fans? Do I know any of them that you talk to?
Yeah. I mean, that are big Sixers guys?
No, that are Eagles fans that you said like you talk to your boys about the Eagles game.
One of them was Tyler Jurg. You know him.
I don't know what type of Eagles fan is he. I don't know.
He's a good Eagles fan, but again, he was the one who was like, "Dude, that's a bullshit call." I enjoy talking to him about it, but I think he's kind of in the same boat. Like this was a loss. This was just solely a loss. So we were kind of chilling.
Take it for what it is, baby. Welcome to the gang.
yeah, exactly. Welcome to the loss club. It's a weird it was a weird feeling watching the Eagles game and being pissed because all year it's just been fun.
Great, right? Yeah. So I think the only thing I'm looking forward to next week in regards to sports is the Colts versus Eagles. You still got the Colts coming off a win, regardless.
Yeah.
You got some steam in that locker room. Colts versus Eagles. Let's see where that ends up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm calling the upset. Arkansas is going to beat Mississippi, 14 Mississippi. Arkansas looked good this week, so I think that Mississippi team is in some trouble. And then something to always pay attention to is anytime Ohio State plays Maryland, you never know where that can go. Maryland is still a good team. They're not ranked, but it's definitely something that I would pay attention to going forward.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think touching on college football, the rankings pretty much stayed the same. I know Oregon got upset, so LSU is now 6, but it's still Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, and then 5 and 6 just on the outs of the playoff is Tennessee and LSU. TCU, I'm going to put on upset watch this week. They impressed me last week as big underdogs on the road. I bet on them. They took control of that game. You mentioned it last week. Texas is a hostile environment. It's Texas, one of the biggest brands in all of sports.
Yeah. They
got a big win. They now have to go to Baylor, struggling this year. Baylor just got their asses kicked last week. I think they lost 31-3. Mm-hmm. I always like taking teams that get embarrassed. I like taking them the next week because these are guys, again, these are competitors, man. When you're embarrassed like that, you want to come back and make a statement. And I think TCU came off of such a high win at Texas. Maybe they overlook them a little bit. Maybe the nerves of being that number 4 team in the college football playoff. If Baylor can have a lead going into halftime, TCU might be like, shit, man, we're in a little bit of trouble. But I agree with you. I watched that Arkansas game last week against LSU. They look like a spoiler. And Ole Miss, was in a dogfight against Bama, that was definitely like their Super Bowl and they lost.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if Arkansas won too.
Yeah, of course, I was at the wedding this weekend. Beautiful wedding. Shout out to Greg and his
Right.
beautiful wife. It was a good time, but I was definitely the guy in the church watching the game. I get in trouble by Cat. And then also at the table, I had the phone propped up on the centerpiece. So
Yeah.
and they went around and like, really, you're watching the game? I'm like, bro, come on, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's TCU for Texas right now. This is a big game to be watching. So I was watching at the wedding, but we were all busy. Hey, man, I think that was an amazing episode. I really enjoyed the discussion. We got to add some. Let's add some clapping to that. I really
Well done.
It was awesome. Again, do you have anything else to add, brother?
No, I think we're good, man. Embrace debate. We went back and forth a little bit. It's weird when both of our teams lose.
Yo, is there anyone you want to bring on one of these weeks?
Yeah, I think we can talk about it. Maybe we can talk about it a little bit off air, but yeah, we can definitely collab and see if we can get somebody on. I think listen, I know we can get Tone back on as long as the Eagles win, but it sounds like he might be ducking you when we lose.
Tone ducking, baby. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Continue to support. Please go like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on the Instagram at WeTrust_podcast. Follow Liam on Instagram. His @ handle is there. You want to say your @ handle, brother?
Yep, Liam Stokes 11. Nice and easy.
That's at Jimmy Rollins.
Oh yeah,
Jimmy Rollins number.
Oh yeah.
And again, our sponsor. Please go and show some love and support a local business. Get your hookah supplies as well. 10% off using the code TRUST. Thank you guys and have a good week.
All right. Thanks, Lee.